So, hey guys, and welcome to Friday. Hope you've had a good week so far, and I thought I'd end every Friday with a discussion, and not a usual discussion about cards or archetypes and stuff like that, but kind of a discussion about the other parts of Yu-Gi-Oh! These being like the anime, the companies involved with Yu-Gi-Oh! The various Yu-Gi-Oh! Sites that are around, stuff like that, and you'll kind of get an idea of what I'll be discussing once I post more videos over the coming future. Obviously, there'll probably be a point where I'll run out of things to say because this area doesn't expand a lot, but to be honest, that will be a long time yet, so let's not worry about that. So anyway, let's get into the main discussion I've got for today, and that is quite a simple one today. It is, who is the best protagonist of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series? And now this is quite a difficult decision. I have my own personal favourite, my choice for the best protagonist of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series out of the four in front of you here. But it is quite a difficult choice because a Yu-Gi-Oh! Protagonist has to have a variety of things, and you could say that those variety of things were decided by Kazuki Takahashi when he created the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series with the original protagonist Yugi Muto. But I don't know, I'm not so sure. So let's get into it. I'm going to do a quick kind of good points and bad points over all four of them, and then really we'll spread this discussion out into the comments section, because I don't think I can discuss with myself at personal length, but obviously you can't feed back to me while I'm talking, so it'll be better to do this in the comments. So let's get into it. Let's start talking about Yugi Muto. Plus points I've got from here, kind of the big ones. He is the original protagonist of the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. His name is in the game, Yugioh, and he even says Yu-Gi-Oh! In the anime when he transforms into Yami Yugi with his Millennium Puzzle and all that. So that is quite a big redeeming feature for being the best protagonist of Yu-Gi-Oh! He also is, in my eyes, the best duelist of all time within the Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. I haven't got the win ratio of all the duelists here, but I believe he's got one of the higher win to loss ratios of all the duelists. Jaden's got a pretty high one as well, if I remember. But Yugi's got a really high one as well. Well, they all have, to be honest. That's why they're protagonists. But I believe also that the kind of big dogs of Yu-Gi-Oh! Even Kazuki, even though he hasn't said, possibly, I can't really speak for him, but would rate him as the best duelist. He would win against the other protagonists in a duel. He beats Jaden at the end of GX. Also, if you've seen the video, they did a kind of Yugi versus Yusei at one of the World Championship qualifiers last year, which is quite funny, and Yugi wins that. So I just think they kind of think he is the best duelist they've had. He's the king of games and all. He's also the face of Yu-Gi-Oh! He is the kind of original face, and obviously people who come into the game now don't know of him as much, so usually the protagonist at the time becomes the face for the new players. But for most Yu-Gi-Oh! Players who watch the anime and then start getting into it and then look back, they kind of start to realise that Yugi is the face of Yu-Gi-Oh! A few other things. He has the heart of the cards, a classic kind of joke made when you need luck, but it is a kind of integral to Yu-Gi-Oh! At the moment when you think about it. A few features I think bring him down though a bit are that I don't think he develops a lot through the anime. He doesn't develop until much later. He does do a little bit of development in the first series and later on, but I really think he develops later in the series, which is a bit annoying. When I say develop, I also mean not just personality, but a bit of his dueling style as well. It doesn't really change. But anyway, yeah, that gets on. And also another one is I think he's a bit too serious. He is quite upbeat about a lot of things, and he smirks a lot while he duels if you watch him. But I do think he brings quite a serious nature to Yu-Gi-Oh! In the anime. So it can be a bit too serious, and it is a game after all. But then again, it is a TV show. It tries to make it out to be more than a game. So who knows? Anyway, on to the next one, Jaden. Now, Jaden is my own personal favourite for a lot of reasons. Probably because I came into Yu-Gi-Oh! Again, I started off when Yugi was the main protagonist. I came back in later when Jaden became the main protagonist when I started watching Yu-Gi-Oh! GX, which is one of my favourite Yu-Gi-Oh! Series. Jaden's features, in my eyes, he has the Elemental Heroes, a classic archetype now, the Elemental Heroes, and they are at the top of their game at the moment. They are one of the top tier decks around at the moment, and they're just a classic deck with a huge variety of cards. The amount of cards in his deck is insane, but it just shows how much he can differ in how he duels. He does have so many options. His duels are so much more fun, and he also has fun. He has so much more fun than any of the other characters at dueling, I think, which some people find a bit annoying, but I think it's just so much more realistic in how much fun he has. He shows dueling off to be a lot more fun. He came after Yugi, so he had quite a struggle to kind of bring him out as a good protagonist, but I really think he just has so much more fun. He also shows that academia isn't everything. He's not that academic. He's actually the best duelist in the school, but still in the Slifer Red Dorm, which kind of shows off how even if you're not great at kind of classic academia, school and stuff, you can still succeed and be good at a lot of other things. He also, in my eyes, has one of the kind of coolest dark sides to him when Dark Jaden appears in the kind of whole Yubel story arc creates. Yubel and the Dub's a bit annoying, her voice is a bit irritating for me, but the Dark Jaden when he faces Baron Mad King of the Dark World just when his eyes first turn into the Supreme King, that point is just it's beautiful when it happens. I think it's one of the coolest sequences in Yu-Gi-Oh! Anime, and if you see it and you know what I'm talking about, I think you'd have to agree. I also think he develops as a duelist and a character throughout the series much more than many of the other characters. Some do it earlier, some do it later, but I think he develops the whole way through a lot. Maybe not so much through the first series, but through the kind of second and third series, he really does develop as a character. There are a few downsides, I guess, to him. I can't think of many, but I think he is a little bit too casual sometimes. They kind of touch on this with his friends getting really annoyed, how he just runs off and just doesn't think of anyone else. And he is a bit like that sometimes. I think he is a bit, he isn't selfish, but it can be seen as selfish sometimes, some of his things he does. So yeah, there's a few downsides for him. Yusei, he's the oldest protagonist, which I like. Ends the series at 20 years old and starts off 18. And he's one of the few that doesn't go to a school at the beginning or throughout. So he is quite handy at being the oldest. He's also very smart, very intellectual. He kind of shows off how a smart player can play Yu-Gi-Oh! Quite well. He's incredibly skilled and very kind of cool. He's quite a cool character, which kind of comes with age, which is shown in the series. He also brings in dual runners, and that's, well, card games on motorcycles, really, isn't it? It's just it's a incredibly kind of just cool thing, isn't it? He's just all about coolness, I think, Yusei, really. He's really likable as well. He has, I think his reasons when he duels at the beginning is kind of trying to get his car back from Jack. And then later on, the other things he does, it just has a kind of, when he duels, I feel like, I can kind of see why you're dueling. Some of the reasons when Jaden duels, it's kind of a bit like, well, really, do you have to duel right now? and same with Yugi, but a lot of the reasons when Yusei actually duels kind of makes sense in my eyes. Downsides though, again, he is quite serious a lot of the time, kind of in the earlier series, because he kind of breaks down, he kind of develops a bit more. Another downside of Yusei, I think, is that he's one of the... They've all got their main cards, if you kind of... They're kind of obvious, Dark Magician, Neos, Stardust, and Utopia for each protagonist. But he's probably one of the main protagonists his main focus is to bring out his main card, Stardust. The others do bring out their main card nearly all the time, and obviously Jaden's revolves around it with Neos equipping. But I really think that Yusei really puts Stardust as his #1 all the time. His dueling is very get out Stardust, get out Stardust, get out Stardust, or shooting Stardust later on and stuff like that. So sorry. So I don't know if that's really a downside, but it does kind of make some of his duels a bit dull because they're a bit obvious, I think, some of them. I think Jaden's are a bit more fun in the sense, even though he does bring out Neos a hell of a lot, he then brings out the fusion equivalents and they're sometimes new and a bit more interesting. On to Yuma, which is obviously the one I least know about because I haven't watched the entire series yet of Zexal, and it's kind of new to me at the moment when I've got back into Yugioh in like the last few years. Zexal is kind of just, I was like, oh, I didn't know it was around, and then I just found out and I was like, oh, I better start watching it. So I've kind of just started watching it, so I don't know a lot, but from what I gather, Yuma his good qualities are that he's an amateur. He can lose. He's one of the few protagonists that loses on a quite, well, not quite a few occasions, but yeah, a few occasions he does lose, which is nice to see that they brought in a protagonist who's a bit more realistic. He kind of, his dueling style develops. He kind of learns from Astral, should I say, and I like to see that. I got a protagonist who isn't unbeatable like Yugi is. Well, Heart of the Cards means he just seems to win every single duel and it's impossible to beat him. That's what I like to see, and how he gets better. He's also not too serious. Again, like they've gone kind of... Yuki came along quite serious, then they brought in Jaden who wasn't serious, then they went back to going serious, and now they've gone back to the kind of Jaden style of things, which I like to see. Obviously because I prefer Jaden. Oh god, sorry guys. And yeah, it's really nice to see. There are a few annoying things about him. I just find him annoying. I don't know what it is. I think maybe it's his voice. It's just something about him. I just find him annoying. And I can't put my finger on it right now. I'm not sure if I'm not a massive fan of the kind of whole Astral. And to be honest, the whole kind of very over the topness of Zexal. I think it's very over the top. It's not as like relaxed as 5D's was, and definitely just seems so over the top. The whole city, the whole everything about it just seems. I've lost the name of the city in my mind. It's like Heartland or something. But it's so kind of bright and in your face. It's a kind of love or hate thing, I think. But I've started to like Yuma a bit more, so I can't really give a feeling on him, and in the comments we'll have to discuss after I've watched a few more episodes, so sorry I can't really talk about a lot about Yuma. But yeah, that's it guys. I don't really want to go on too long, so who is the best protagonist of Yugioh, or who is your favourite really? They all have redeeming features. Mine is Jaden. You can argue with me in the comments, so we can go a bit more word to word about why he might not be your favourite, but yeah, really. This is the first discussion, so sorry if I kind of ramble on a bit or I've gone too quick or whatever. I don't really know how I've done, but yeah, let's talk about this in the comments. Who is the best protagonist of Yugioh, and what do you think? I hope you enjoyed listening, and have a good weekend. I'll be posting a few videos at the weekend, so yeah guys, thanks for watching, and see you around. Cheers.